Hi all, welcome back. Red Storm, Dark Blue Defection, Scenario 2, Good Old Uncle Sam. This will be part 12. Okay, a few things to talk about. Made a comment in the last header. John left quite a few comments. Part 10. I don't think I've got around to making any replies in part 9, John. If I do, if I don't get around to it, you'll notice I will discuss everything. Just in case I forget, things getting on top of me a bit. I appreciate your comments, every one of them. I really do. But there's a lot, and I'm getting quite a few things muddled up. I'm starting to make a few mistakes as well. So, like I say, if I don't get around to making some replies, I'll certainly speak about it on camera. Okay, so. Yeah, there's some comments for part 10. I've also uploaded part 11. There was a couple of things there as well. But part 10, I won't go through all of these comments. Some of the stuff is good to read. But I'll maybe skip by some of the stuff. Yeah. Well, first of all, again, John's carefully timestamped everything, so you can go and look at exactly what his comments mean. A bit of confusion. That must be me, like, getting muddled up with a lot of things. But yeah, there is a lot to take in this game. And he says he's got a lot of his stuff from reading Tom Clancy novels exactly when he was younger. And, I could see how that, I mean, the abbreviations and the talk of this, that and the next thing. I've looked into that a little bit, so I know some of it. I'm not completely it's not that I don't understand any of it at all, but I mean, yeah, there is a lot. I remember I was quite keen on the flight simulator games in the old days. I had what was it? What was the one that's the manual is like a big, thick, massive Falcon? I think it was Falcon, and I had that. What was the other one that I liked? Oh, I can't remember the name of it. But I liked there was two or three of the games I loved when I was back in my computer days, back years ago. So I must have picked up some of it there. Maybe you wouldn't think that the way I'm blundering my way through some of this, but there is a heck of a lot to. And of course, when you're playing a computer game, although the like I say, the manual for that Falcon, I think I've still got the manual somewhere. I kept hold of it because it was like, just I don't know why. I maybe thought I would go back to it one day, I suppose. But I suppose there was a lot to try and learn there. Anyway, we'll no on to that. Right. Okay. So. Yeah, he's talking about my SA-13 attack again. I think at least I have had some comments in the headers, John. I don't know if you missed them or not. Or sometimes your comments. I mean, I think I put. Yeah, I did put a comment in the header of that one, didn't I? Sure, I did. Yeah, I've actually commented. John has pointed out to me that I miss a -1 modifier when we'd end up with the SAM result. So, and then John references this again in the comment. There's no harm to that, because it's like, if you look at his comments. So we've got that one sorted. It should have been a -3 modifier. This is for this SA-13 up there. It's now got its heavy damage marker back, and that's what should have happened, because its result would have been a miss on us, so I wouldn't have ended up with that -2 modifier, and we would have got the heavy damage result. Okay, how have I got that bit resolved? However, the next part, which I was going to put a comment in this as well, because I was talking about it when we had this suppressed. Well, at 19-minute and 20-second mark, that's what John's got timestamped. Keep reading down, Grant. A slight damage result versus an infrared SAM is a no effect. And I remember picking this up at first when I first done it. Try to find where that is. Let me find where it is. Yeah, here we are, here. And I definitely picked up before, because I definitely noticed that here, read it. although we didn't end up with a slight result, I did read through that when we attacked that first SA13. However, I missed it the second time when we were reading it, and like John's pointed out, only radar SAMs can be suppressed. He says, I kind of understand this miss, since it probably would have been better to put the note with the slight damage. Yeah, fair point. You know, the notes are down the bottom here. Could it not have been in here somewhere? But I did read it that first time and then forgot about it. However, we didn't end up with slight damage anyway. So, but when I did put that dice with a 6 suppression on it, that shouldn't have happened. Slight damage for infrared SAMs is just ignored. It's a no effect. So, okay, good stuff. And then he mentions, however, the knock-on effects of the SA13 attack actually being a miss, or that the SA13 still took the heavy damage. So, I think we're right with that now. We're all good with that. He says, I'm correct about the runway rating of our flight works. He says, to be honest, I think heading Vegas west is probably better than, yeah, okay. The fact I've not got the map completely opened up, I'm not sure what is up this area and what is down the other area, but well, we'll start at heading them west, although there's something to come back on that as well. Me blundering my way through this airfield. Yeah, I'll get to it in a minute. Well, actually, that's his next comment. As Vegas moved, Bad Hersfield's AA would take 3 shots at them as they overflew. Now, I only counted the shot. Well, initially I didn't get the shot because I've just forgot all about thinking it's a friendly airfield. It's not going to shoot at us, but we need to be at deck level for that to be okay. So eventually retrace my steps with that and take the 1 shot for him crossing the airfield. But as we all know, the AA barrage zone is in the hex and all the hexes adjacent. So I flew through into this hex, and this hex. So should have taken 3 shots. He says you might have been better off moving forward 1 hex and then doing some turns so that you're overflying the SA13, so which is here. And this would only take the 1 shot. Can I go? I mean, I looked at where we were. I think we were in this hex, pointing that way, maybe. I think I should try and rewind this and fix it. Now, I've done 1 dice roll, okay? And we survived. Only just. I think I rolled a 17, didn't I? And it was 18 or greater, we'd have taken some hit. So I'm going to keep that dice roll, because it's a good one. So if I can manage to make a different manoeuvre by just reversing, like turning around and coming over this hex. I don't think I'm going to be in the exact same hex, but let's just see if we can do that, because as you know, I do like to make it right if I can. So it's maybe not a huge big deal here, but, well, to be honest, it could be, because if I'm going to roll, I mean, I could take a chance right now and roll the dice twice. Will we do that instead to make it easier? See, the thing is, if I take a hit, then I'm going to... No, let's maybe retrace our steps here a little bit and think that we're a bit smarter, and we're not going to take the chance and roll 3 times crossing that, because you wouldn't do that if you could avoid it. So let's see if I can make a fix to this. Right, let's make a better job of this. This is where Vegas was. That's where he ended up. Just left the blue cube there because it was marking it as it moved. Now, I've not put the dash marker on him yet either, because I'm wondering if we shouldn't be dashing. Now, just while we're there, right, hang on. Yeah, no, I could probably just explain this. John asked one of my questions in the video, on the latest video on part 11. Well, I asked 2 questions. I left 2 questions out there, and John answers them both. We'll get to the second one shortly. But the first one was about turning in a hex, and how I wasn't sure that if we made a free turn in a hex, if we moved and free turned, and then decided to spend a movement point to make a turn, does the maximum turn and altitude band number make, do you have to consider the free turn move that you made? and I don't know if I explained that very well. What I mean is right, we're at speed of 5. No, let's say we're at speed of 4. We make a move into a hex. We've got a free turn. 60 degrees. So we move into the hex for 1 movement point and do a free 60-degree turn. We then decide in that hex we want to spend a movement point to turn 120 degrees. And my question was, because I've already turned 60 degrees with a free turn, do I still get 120 degrees, making it a total of 180? Or is it, can I only just turn 60 degrees now to make it 120? Well, John's confirmed that it is only 120. So if I use my free move of 60, my free turn is 60, then if I wanted to spend a movement point to turn again in the hex, without moving, just turn again in the hex, I could only turn 60 degrees. So the time that I'd done that, he said that he thinks it was okay. I got the impression that it might have been, but we'll get back to that. But I just wanted to bring that up now because that could be relevant to what I'm about to try. Okay, so what's the best way to do that? So we've got Vegas, he's at medium altitude. So we can either take a speed of 4. He is clean, because remember, I don't think he's got anything left, does he? Well, actually, he does have his radar homing missiles, but he can't initiate air-to-air combat, so he can only defend himself. So he is clean. He's at medium altitude, so I can have a speed of 4, or I can dash at 6, and that's what we decide to do. However, here, if I dash at 6, then my free turns are 30 degrees, my maximum turns 90 degrees. So, yeah, because I think that's what I start by making a free turn. I start by making a turn, don't I? Right, let me just think this one through. Right, yeah, it's tricky to get out of there without hitting, because you've got AA fire down here, and then we've also got the AA fire here. I suppose, I don't know, couldn't we just drop to deck level? Would that not be a better option then, John, maybe? Because if we drop to deck, we're okay about flying over our airfield. So if I set... Yeah, why not just do that? And then I wouldn't need a dice roll at all. If I just set dash throttle, we're at medium altitude, so I have a speed of 6. My max turn is 90 degrees, free turn is 30 degrees. So I do a turn. So I'm facing there, so that's 30, 60, 90. I'm now facing the spine of that hex. Yeah. And, so hang on. That was 6 movement points. So that's me spent 1 movement point. However, and when I finish that turn, I'm going to drop to low altitude, deck altitude. I can do that, can't I? So I do a turn. On completing a turn, the flight may freely descend... 1 altitude band. Okay, I need to spend a point to dive to any lower altitude band. Right, well, hang on. If I do that... Yeah, I think it's still okay. So, if I do that turn, spend a movement point, that drops me to low altitude. Well, sorry, I select to do a free... I do a move, and then I freely descend 1 altitude band, okay? So now my next movement point is going to be straight ahead. However, I'm going to do that and did I get away with this though? And free turn 30 degrees into the hex. Well, in actual fact, yeah, I can only do free turn at 30 degrees. Into the hex, which points me that way. And I'm going to free drop to deck altitude. So, I think if I do all that, I don't take the dice, I don't take the barrage check. Because it said it somewhere about dropping, didn't it? Where did it say that? Give me a sec. So roll a barrage attack on a flight. This is in 14.4 AA barrage on page 22. Roll a barrage attack on a flight, whether friendly or enemy, detected or undetected, immediately each time the following applies. And B is it changes altitude band in a barrage zone as a result of movement, scatter, or some avoidance. Note that a flight that enters a barrage zone and descends an altitude band in the same movement point is only attacked once. Okay. Well, I'm not 100% sure if that move... I know John confirmed for me that the free move into that hex would avoid me being in there and taking the barrage zone from that flak, because I done the move along the spine and done the free move, and I'm doing the free drop altitude down to deck. So I'm not 100% sure if this would have fired at me before I actually dropped to deck. Maybe you can confirm that one, John. If, however, it did fire at me, right, then I'll take that roll that I had, 17. Okay, so, but now we're at deck level, and we can cruise on by now, can't we? Yeah, we're allowed to be at deck level or over a friendly aircraft. I've got 4 movement points left. It should probably end up with the same result here. So then 1 free turn. That's 3 movement points left. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm in the same hex. 1, 2, 3. So all that's happened there is I've ended in the same hex, but I've dropped to deck altitude to avoid the AAA. And if we did take that one while we were in that hex, but like I say, maybe John will confirm that. I get the feeling we would have got away with that as well, because we had dropped to deck, but maybe not. And if we did, then we'll just take that 17 dice roll that I rolled. Okay, and we're in the same hex. It's just we're at deck altitude, so our speed next turn will not be as well. We're not at medium, so you can see that I'm going to get a 4 or a 5 speed, where we got a 4 or a 6 there. Okay, so we'll go with that, and hopefully that is okay now. But we'll see. Okay, his next comment was regarding when we moved adjacent to pull off. It seems we've done it all right. He did says another option would have been to manoeuvre it in the pull off's rear arc. And again, these are things you're going to learn. He says even with BVR, infrared missiles do not take a modifier. These are all these modifiers that I'm not up to. I just don't know what the best position is, and I guess you're going to get that after playing the game over and over a few times. But he does say, but manoeuvring into pull-off's front arc is definitely better for BVR, as no modifiers, and has no modifiers for standard air. I think, yeah, coming in the rear, if we were going to move into standard air, you get a better modifier for that, I think. So I think we've done all that right. He says you're not restricted as to the turn you can make when on a hex side. Yeah, okay. Inherent AA would fire at a fight at low on the first movement point spent while on the enemy side of the front, but inherent AAA is not in effect in this scenario. Yeah, what is inherent AA then? Hang on. Okay, it just refers you to scenario conditions, rule 30 on page 45, inherent AA / infrared SAM coverage. Some scenarios have a zone of hexes around the front where enemy flights at O or deck altitudes are automatically attacked once during the movement phase by an inherent Jeopard or 2K22 mobile AAA attack. So it's just a scenario thing, that. So, yeah, and then it reminds me yet again that at deck is when there's an automatic small arms barrage at the end of a flight's movement. It's not low, Grant, it's at deck. Right, we've got that one. Okay, so this is at 54-minute 50-second mark. Yeah, he says, so the SAMS radar is shown as off, but the bot would have turned the radar on. Yeah, that's because I guess I wasn't sure at the time as to if this automatically turned on. When this radar shutdown marker got removed, this should have turned on. John did confirm that. I wasn't sure about that. But I think I had left it off and tried to attack with the Shrike again. Whereas the Shrike wouldn't have been able to have attacked if the radar had been off. But he did sort of say it's okay with that correction because it should have been turned back on. So, okay, fair enough. But he says this is also a good reminder that you need the target SAM's radar to be on to launch an arm. The exception being if you're using a preemptive arm launch, but it's a niche enough usage that I would not recommend it for this scenario. Yeah, well, maybe I'll look into that preemptive arm launch. So yeah, the SAM's radar needs to be on before you can launch an arm attack. Yeah, okay. And then the last one, 5730. Give me a sec. Yeah, this was just his more specific, a better explanation of, I was asking about are the Shrike missiles actually fired. So, to be a little more specific from my other comments, at the point you do the announce arm launch step of the arm attack sequence, the arm missiles have been fired. And yes, you definitely want the radar to stay on so the Shrike can try and do its thing. But you do have one AOGM left on Saint, and the SA-11 is located, so even if the SA-11 stays off the air, you have a hope. Yeah, so yeah, we kept an AOGM missile. It was a wee bit risky, but we actually got away with it eventually and got the heavy damage on that. So we do have an SA-11, and although we've got our Shrike left, I think, obviously we can't fire at that because it's off. But however, we can move in now and give the OGM a shot at that, because that doesn't care if it's on or off. Okay, good stuff. Right, thanks for that, John. And just jumping quickly to the couple of comments on part 11. Yeah, actually one of them was the turn in it. He says the total amount you can turn in a hex at the same altitude is the max turn. So if you free turn 60 degrees, you could only turn an additional 60. I believe you did this just fine since you only turned 120 degrees total. So we'll just stick with what John says there and assume we did get it right. I replied, okay, I'm glad I asked this question, because to be honest, it's not something I thought about initially. I kind of would have thought that you could turn the full again, but that makes more sense, that you're limited to how much you can turn. Right, and then my main question was that we've got the bot here. It's as close to Saint as it is to Cobra. We randomised the roll and it selected Saint. However, it cannot get into air-to-air combat with Saint. It's one hex short, and basically because of its facing, whereas it could with Cobra. And I wondered, what should we do here? Should we just go as rules as written and move as close to Saint as possible? Or should we override that and say, well, let's get in on Cobra? Bearing in mind, it's probably more important for them to try and take Saint out than it is Cobra. And John replies with something like that. He says, as you say yourself, Saint as a SEAD bombing flight is more important to intercept than a cap flight, which is the Cobra flight. But you executed the bot just fine as far as choosing engagement method and target. So he is sort of saying there that this is our target, we randomised it. So I just wanted confirmation. I says, okay, if the die roll had randomised to the cap flight, though, would you have stuck with that? He says, yeah, sometimes the bot makes a silly play, but in this case, it was the right one. I mean, as in a two-player, as a player in a two-player game, you'd have noticed certain things that would have you keying in. So I'm not totally against a smart bot, but the way it was designed keeps it simple. And I totally agree. I'm all for one. Most of Mr. Butterfield's games, the AI will make some daft moves at times, but the AIs are pretty brutal in these games, and you don't mind a daft move once in a while. And I think, look, if a human was playing this, they might make a daft move as well, So I'm all for that. He also suggests if you have the time, check out the downtown solo rules on BGG for an example of a more complex way to do solo. And just, I didn't didn't add this in my reply, John, but would the solo rules be able to be incorporated into this game, or is it specifically for Downtown itself? Not that I'm sure I want to dive into deeper, more complex solo rules for this game yet, but however, you never know down the line. Like I say, we've been Enemy Action Ardennes, Enemy Action Kharkov, very complex solo rules, but most enjoyable. So it's not to say I wouldn't look into them down the line. But again, is it just are they solo rules just dedicated for Downtown, or would you be able to use them in this game? You can let me know. Okay, so I think that's everything. 25 minutes, there we go. But it's not 30, it's not 20, 25. Right, let's get the game continuing, although I do need to pause for a bit. Right, I'm back. Although I've been away for a couple of hours there. So I think we'd discussed everything, we'd fixed everything, well, till we break it again. And we knew that now we were going to stick with the randomisation of the Zeller flight of MiG-21s going after the Saints flight F-16 Falcons. So I'm looking for player card 5. Yeah, I was looking for the activation stuff again. So, but we have worked out that we can't quite reach. Yeah, so we are attempting standard area because we eventually realised we don't have BVR weapons. I kind of started off with the thinking that we did, but we don't. So, determine the target. We had to randomly select between ties. We've randomly selected, but unfortunately we can't quite reach. So it says attempt engagement. If engagement attempt not possible, move as close as possible to target flight at same altitude, turning to keep it in forward arc. If engagement successful, well, it's not. If engagement unsuccessful, use the remaining movement points to move straight ahead. Oh, right, okay. Attempt engagement. If engagement attempt not possible, well, it's not because to move as close as possible to target flight at same altitude, turning to keep it in forward arc. Okay, so for the fish bed to do that, he's got a clean profile, he's at medium altitude, so his movement's either 4 or 5, but I'm assuming we use the dash to get 1 hex closer. So we're going to set dash throttle at medium altitude. That gives him a movement of 5. Right, so he's wanting to get him in his forward arc. Yeah, he's wanting to go head on to him. That's because that's... Oh no, actually. Oh, it is better coming in from the rear, isn't it? Aye. Same altitude if able from rear hemisphere if possible. Well, none of that's possible, so basically we're just going to get him in line. I mean, whether we get the chance to do that, if we get to activate this again before Saint activates, actually, yeah, he's going to be in a bit of bother, because we've got nothing really... Well, apart from the F-16 himself, but he needs to lose 1 EOGM missile and 1 strike. Ooh, yeah, well, we could... If we do get to activate first, yeah, we've still got to... There's no point. We've got to go in and try and take the SA-11 out, haven't we? We won't be able to use the Shrike. Use the EOGM, and then we can jettison the Shrike, and then we can then, because we're multi-role, we could then change our task to cap and be able to go and attack Zeller. Yeah, okay. Right, so that's what we're going to do there. Sorry, give me a sec. I need to take another wee pause. Right, okay, let's get on with this. So, speed of 5, dash throttle, medium altitude. He's got a maximum turn of 90 degrees. So, 30, 60, 90. is going to be 30, 60. It's going to be facing along the spine of that hex. Yeah, so pretty sure he wants to do that for his first movement point. He wants to stay at medium altitude, actually, yeah. Because that's what we're at. And then another movement point in there with a free 30-degree turn, taking him down to 3. He's got 3 movement points left. Well, we know they don't need to worry about the flak here. I was just thinking, does he want to be at this side, or... I mean, or should I move him up head on? I don't know if it really matters, does it? Where's the free 30-degree turn? Because I could go 1, turn, 2, 3, turn, and that's facing him directly. Yeah, I suppose we'll do that. So we've got 3 movement points left. So 1. Oh no, hang on. It's only a 30-degree turn I've got in it. Free turn. That takes me down to 2. Then 2. Yeah, I don't really think it matters, Grant, does it? Just go 2 and then go 3 into there, I think. That wipes out his movement. Because we're sort of, Saints facing down that hex row, but maybe we do have him in the forward arc. And to be honest, from there, if he does get the initiative, would he be able to get around the back? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. So that dash is going to stick with him. He's going to stick at medium altitude, obviously, and he's going to get a little blue cube saying that he's done. And that's going to be everything done, isn't it? Yeah, because he couldn't reach. Okay. Right, that's fine. Well, that's all the flights moved now, isn't it? So that's us going to end this turn. But obviously there's a few bits and bobs to go through. So wait till I get a sequence of play. Back out here. So that was the movement phase. Right, fuel phase. We've got 2 flights that I've got dash. I'll just mark this off camera. So we've got Vegas, which is the Wild Weasel. So he spent another fuel point. He's still got 6 left. And we've got Zeller, which is the MiG-21, marking off a fuel point. Now he only starts with 6 fuel points, but he's fine. And that was it. None of the other flights used dash, so all good there. Let's not miss any of the phases this time, Grant. Let's try to take things a little bit slower. I felt like I've been missing some stuff. Right, SAM location phase. Well, I don't even need to do this now, do we? Because all the SAMs are located. This one was unlocated, but it's now located. So we can skip by that. So track phase. Is there any flights at deck level? Well, actually, there is there. Vegas, who in actual fact he's in a mountain X. So let me get that table out. Where is it? So all detected NATO flights at deck and rough all detected flights at deck and rough, all detected flights at deck and in or adjacent to mountain hex automatically go undetected at the start of the track phase. So yeah, so he has Vegas flight is at deck. Actually, hang on, we can take these away just to make things so we can see stuff better. Activate all the flight. Yeah, so he's at deck level, and he's actually in, well, I think we can choose which hex he's in, but he's in rough or mountain. That's a mountain there, so. And I'm pretty sure as long as it's got a bit of that in it, it counts as that. So he becomes undetected automatically, which is probably kind of irrelevant. And the other flights are all at mid-jump, so we need to roll. So checking for the Warsaw Pact, checking the NATO flights, we're rolling on the C column. We get a 14 on the C column, which is spade. What we got? Diamond and we got diamond and heart. Was he a spade? Vegas. He was. Oh well. That's a pity. Okay, so none of the flights go undetected, and then we check for Warsaw Pact flight. Well, we've only got one. He's a diamond. So I'm rolling on the D column. I don't want this to be going undetected. I rolled a 7 on the D column. It's a heart. It's in brackets, so that's not good. Okay, so yeah, because we want to have, again, we kind of, well, I want to have the initiative, but I'm really going to keep my. Well, I can't attack that anyway, can I? I can defend myself against it, but I can't initiate attack against it. So I'm just going to be heading for the SA-11. And hopefully I can get in range to use my EOGM and then jettison my Shrike, because I don't think it's any good to me, and I need rid of that before I can then turn into a cat mission. But to be honest, between then and the MiG activating, the MiG's going to come after me, aren't they? So maybe there's something smarter I should be doing, but okay, that's the detection. The track phase. SAM acquisition. So this queue, no, it can't. No, because it's shut down. Okay, but we're going to roll to see if that comes off, that shutdown marker. So then in the admin phase, just going through this, there's no SAM launch markers, zoom climb markers, no. Anti-radar tactics, generate dummies, make flights ready. Roll for loss of A, suppression, well, none of that. Activate A, parachute crewman land. Well, I don't think that'd be this turn. Maybe I'll land next turn, but it doesn't matter. What am I missing? Remove SAM launch markers. Where's the one? Where's the bit that removes that roll? Or when do I roll to try and remove that radar shutdown marker? Should be in here, shouldn't it? Roll to remove shutdown markers. There, it's there. It's the second option, Grant. So 17.53. 17.53. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't tell you. It refers you to that rule, but I don't. Oh, it does. Sorry, I'm talking rubbish. Units with a shutdown marker may not attack. Turn the radar on. Move or attempt detection. They may attempt to remove the shutdown marker in the admin phase. Okay, my bad. It is there. Roll a die, and a result of 5 or greater, remove the marker. Otherwise, it remains in place. Okay, so We're all just one dice, and we're kind of hoping, well, are we hoping? Yeah, no, we probably prefer it one. I don't know what I want. Let's roll. I'll roll the 6. So in a result of 5 or greater, remove the marker. Right, okay. So shutdown marker's coming off, and then that automatically turns the radar back on. So that actually means that we can fire the Shrike. Now, I can't remember where I'm at here. The Shrike. Could I do both? Could I go in, move in on that, fire the Shrike, see what happens, and carry on moving? If I've got them, I mean, what sort of movement am I going to get? I'm at medium. To be honest, I can get 6 movement at oh no, hang on, I'm lading, am I not? So I can get 5 movement. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I mean, I can get in range to fire my EOGM. I'm just not, something's. I mean, because I could launch a Shrike, because I'm at medium. That's 6 hexes away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I could launch a Shrike just by moving into there, launch it, and then move in closer, and then launch my missile. I don't know if I can do that all in a one-er. I need to maybe do some homework on that part. I'm attacking the same target, but I'm using 2 different. I'm doing an anti-radiation missile launch, and then I'm trying to fire a missile. I don't know if you can do all that in a one-er. Well, it's a good time to speak about it, Grant, while you're nearing the end of the video. And maybe John and the likes will tell you, no, you can't do that, or yes, you can. Okay, well, I've mentioned that, so let me know, John. Yeah, I'm not sure. There's nothing jumping at me there. I want to say I can't do it because it's 2 different sort of weapons I'm using, but maybe I'll be able to find it in the rules if I don't. If I move on before I've uploaded this video. Okay, so anyway, where were we with all that? We'd turned back on the radar. Right, that was it. Right, let's just get that finished. So that's the last thing in the admin phase, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. So that's a turnover. I think there's no other markers I can see out there. Yeah, but we're doing pretty well, I think, now that we've got that heavy damage back there. Because that was, 3 points? That's 3 points, that's 6. We've shot down 2 MiG-29s for 2 points each. Is that right? So is that us sitting at 10 points? Two SC-13s are heavily damaged, that's 6 points. 2 Warsaw Pack flights shot down or crashed. How do you get a crashed result? Anyway, we get 2 points. We get 2 points for each of them. So we are sitting at 10 points. However, if this MiG-21 gets at us and manages to do something, we lose 4 points if they get to shoot one of our aircraft down. And remember, there's 4 aircraft in the flights, isn't there? Who's it? Saint. Yeah, we've got 4 aircraft there, so yeah. Hopefully it doesn't get too mean. I'd like to think that the MiG-21 is not as good, and hopefully we might be okay. His aggression value is at 0, which is good. But anyway, well, a bit of luck, we get the initiative, and we still get to do what I'm saying here. Do our thing first. There's not really any help else we can get. Well, I mean, Cobra could mean, is it silly to think he should try and come in with his guns and go after the MiG-21s with his guns? Probably is silly, isn't it? Yeah, I think the main thing to be considering or concentrating on is having a go at this SA-11, having one last shot at it, see how we get on, and then turning and maybe engaging with the MiG-21. Okay, right, I'll turn the dice over to a 6. And yeah, we'll just leave it at that, because we get a random event to start the turn, etc. Yeah, so that's only 45 minutes, but I'll just put that as a part. And I know 25 of them minutes were discussing more stuff again, but I've given up putting stuff in the header about it. You just need to either put up with it or just fast forward till a bit the interest. Yeah, I think it's all worthwhile looking at. You know, I mean, mistakes need to be fixed. Funny enough, I just got a comment from somebody about a mistake that he'd spotted a way back in one of my Enemy Action Kharkov videos in the Soviet solo game, which was way back. And yeah, it looks like he was right. And I mean, I would have done something to the game, but I'm not quite sure what the outcome would have been. But all these things, they annoy me though, because when you get it wrong, you think, oh, well, if that had happened, then this wouldn't have happened, and whatever. Yeah. Okay. And one of the other things I wanted to say, not that it's anything to do with this game, I eventually packed up DD at Saipan. If any, I know John Brown was watching a bit of that. We've still never received. Martin put out a lot of questions. Well, the designer came to me and asked me to put out just compile a list of questions that we had, and I asked Martin if he would help me out, and he set them all out, and we had a bunch of about 20 odds at first, and then Martin actually added another 10, or I want to say there was maybe 30 odds. It was round about that, and sent them away to emailed them away to the designer, and still haven't heard back. And it's like, I don't know. This isn't the right place to talk about that, I suppose, but it was the follow-ups from the 3D Art series that John Butterfield designed, and Joe Yaus took over as the design. John had obviously had enough of that, and he brought out DD at Iwo Jima, and the rules were a mess, shambles. I went and bought it and found it to be unplayable, and said I wasn't going to buy DD at Saipan because they were meant to be fixing the rules for Iwo Jima. I know I've said all this elsewhere, but it does get on my nerves a bit. Well, a big bit, really. And I'm really annoyed with myself for going and buying DD at Saipan when I said I wouldn't until they fixed the rules for Iwo Jima. However, I did it, and it turns out Martin actually must have purchased it as well, in the hope that, I think he had maybe had a glance at some rules and thought things looked better than they actually were. And it looks like it's just as bad, really. I think it's annoying too. There's a good game in there, and probably an Iwo Jima as well, but just the rules are a shambles. They really are a mess. And the fact that the designer was answering questions at first, and then he asked us to compile a list of questions, and okay, I don't know what's going on in his life right now, right enough. You know, major things could be going on, but he did say he would get back to he would get onto them in the next following week, and that was 5-6 weeks ago or something. And it just seems like he's actually had a chance. Finally, Martin mentioned to me that he had a chance here. The fact that we were both playing the game and finding rules and asking questions, trying to sort it out, then if he was to spend a bit of time in doing that and answering our questions and that, we could get an errata document made up, and it could bring the game back. I mean, I think the game's got a rating of 6 or something on BGG. I'm one of these stupid people that don't put ratings down for my games, but so I don't know. I think that's even lower than what Iwo Jima was. So And if you compare it to D-Day at Omaha Beach, for instance, I'm pretty sure, well, it's well known as being one of the best solo war games, if not, some people probably rate it their best. Anyway, so I've took D-Day at Saipan down off my table, because I had hoped that we would get these answers and I could at least talk about the answers to the questions while I still had the game set up, but no. And no, I don't know. I mean, I dare say we'll come back with answers at some point, but I'm starting to think that the answers are going to not be enough to save the game anyway. But anyway, we'll see. I know that's nothing to do with what you're looking at here, but just me having a wee rant, I suppose. Okay. Well, we've got a bit more time today, so I'd like to think we can finish. Yeah, I'll hopefully finish this. Well, is that not a big ask for you, Grant, to finish this scenario? There's not enough of what more to do, though. They've only got one flight. We've really only got one flight that's capable of doing anything. But we still do have 6 turns left, don't we? So, I dare say, once we've attacked the SA-11, we would probably just abort as well and run away, but I guess the MiG-21 might chase after us. I'm not quite sure how that works. Then again, maybe we shouldn't run away, maybe we should, go up against it, an F-16 against a MiG-21. I don't know, you guys will know what the outcome should be with that, but okay, I'll leave it for now. I've ranted on a bit too much there. I think it's because I'm only at the 50 odd minute mark there, and it's not normal for my videos. But anyway, right, I'll cut this, get it uploaded. Get it looked at, uploaded hopefully today. I might take a break now and just look back over this footage, and then we'll get back and hopefully, or I'll try and finish the scenario, and then, maybe. Nah, I think you're getting a bit too carried away now thinking about setting up the third mission, Grant. I was thinking about possibly taking a break from it, and the fact I've got the other table free now is maybe setting something else up, but I'm not sure. Every time I sit down and play a bit of this, I enjoy it. So it's getting me kind of thinking, what's the next one? Morning Glory, Mission Brief. No, I better not look at it. I'm spoiling things for myself. I'm having a glance, though. Ooh, tornadoes. Ooh. Getting some British guys in there. Okay, well, I'm sure I'll introduce some new stuff as well. Maybe a ground unit or something, possibly. Yeah. Okay, right, I'll get there for now, and I'll be back with part 13 sometime soon, I'd hope. Okay, cheers.